More shotguns. Rage! A lovely unique model to behold. I love a proper introduction to a weapon, letting you get acquainted with something you'll be pointing forwards all the time. The sound it makes is punchy, crisp, and like nothing else.
I'm down.
The animation is nicely done too, coupled with nicely weighted camera judder and model pullback on each shot. The weapon posing lags slightly behind your aim on screen, which gives it a solid weighty feel, suitable for the burgeoning pace of combat. Its patented magic double loading shells are back too. I'll ignore that, but I can't ignore the jarring reload position snap between loading shells. It doesn't distract during gunplay however, and you can quickly upgrade the weapon to an extended magazine. The projectile is one of the most satisfying I've played so far.
There he is!
The way stray pellets kick up dirt, the tight balance spread and peppy fire rate is perfectly matched to keep the numerous enemies in check. The impacts on enemies are world class too. Id spent a lot of time developing their system for enemies to stumble around when taking fire. The only downside is that it's so good, when they don't react on the odd occasion, it really sticks out. We get 2 more ammo types with the regular buckshot. Pop rockets here are a treat. Mini explosives inside each shell. So sweet when you nail a shot with these. Good for flushing out enemies from cover too. Later you'll get pulse shots, a bolt of electricity essentially. It's pretty hard to land a shot with these slower projectiles, but it's capable of paralysing tougher foes. Adding another dimension to combat. This shotgun really has it all, and playing through this detailed yet jumbled environment again, now in 4K 60, has been an absolute joy. I, Divine Cybermancy. A real oddball here. I'll sum up all 3 of its shotgun offerings in one, as there's not much between them. Each has a nice enough unique model, and they all pretty much share the same projectile setup. The only real difference you're getting is rate of fire for each, with the double shot alt fire of the Betty Boom stick a particular nice touch. Everything else is below par, with unpolished animation, basic sound effects and really amateur impacts on enemies. Irritatingly, these foes don't skip a beat until sent to ragdoll heaven. I found the most fun to be had was with the core hammer in full auto mode, and just light up the whole place, ask questions later. It's all a valiant effort, but the gunplay was left too far down the priority list. Serious Sam 3. This one doesn't have a lot of charm and feels very lightweight. It does a decent job all round, but is rarely exciting. That feeling of tiresome repetitiveness does creep in. Luckily, the enemy impacts and reactions are still great, as you would expect, so it's not a lost cause. Well, we have a return to form here with the double barrel shotgun. This game has enemies built for this weapon. A real commitment to making a hugely fun and satisfying weapon to shoot. The power you feel when putting down an enemy is immense. The impacts get cranked up to 11 in this 3rd installment with hilarious yet perfectly measured amounts of gore, especially when you time it just right and chunks fly. The model looks better than ever now and points around on screen perfectly, leading your aim and not lagging behind it, which is important in this case for an enhanced feeling of tight control to match the frenetic combat, the antithesis to Rage's setup. Sounds great and has a perfectly smooth animation. I'd suggest an alt-fire mode from this point. At least the option to fire individual barrels would be very welcome, but sometimes sticking to what you know works best is all that's needed. Another sublime shotgun to fire, 10 out of 10. The Darkness 2. The Defender is a nice enough shotgun, pretty basic model, sound, animation, projectiles, and some impacts on enemies that are above average. Pumps between shots are screen-filling target obscured affairs though, in a game that's already very busy with demonic snakes all over your face. As an animator and game designer, I don't understand why so many developers do this. How about throwing in a range of different pump cycles? We're not playing the original Doom here, we have the bandwidth. There's also explosive rounds which add a little extra particles but doesn't change the sound effect. Anyways, it's not a bad shotgun but easily forgettable. This one is basically the same as the previous but has a neat touch with those shells on the weapon rack individually loading. Kudos for that attention to detail. The explosive ammo upgrade also has a new sound effect for this gun that the previous one lacked, which is nice. The tiresome pumps still obscure your view, but by now you probably have the Darkness gun channeling power up, so your shots can be overcharged for a makeshift one-shot kill railgun. A nice magical touch adding some gunplay variety. Impacts on enemies in this game are excellent, with great staggering, dismemberment and even distractions courtesy of your Darkling buddy causing a nuisance. A nice moment late in the game presents you with this cool lever-action shotgun. Pretty much the same outcome as before, so not much else to say. This is a problem when you stick to real-world weapons for your gun design. You may end up with 3 shotguns that do exactly the same thing. It's nice all the same.
I love it.